Starting tomorrow, this simple water hack can change your life. You may not know this, but the biological...
We gotta go because we started at the beginning and we kind of left it off.
Yeah.
I want to delve into the fact that we live in a universe, okay, in this multi-dimensional universe, that there are other living species in different dimensions that are interfering and attacking our dimension. That's what this is all about.
Who are those species or beings?
In the English language, we use the word demon, but the English language, as I explained earlier, does not do justice to the Abrahamic faith.
Okay.
Some of these demonic entities have been reincarnated as pagan gods in other religions, previous civilizations, and the newest attempt to turn these demonic entities into something is this New Age movement of convincing humanity that there's a superior being that created us, or they altered our DNA. Okay? That's the newest devil's trick. The greatest trick the devil ever played wasn't to convince the world he doesn't exist, was to convince the world he's an alien.
An alien?
That's one of my theories, and I'll explain where I get it from.
Okay, please.
First, we go back to the story of creation that we started half an hour ago. So, from the Abrahamic faith, whether you're a Jew, Christian, or a Muslim, you believe in Adam and Eve, that God created two human beings. They used to live in the heavens, and they fell from grace. They were cast down. Okay? But long before God created Adam and Eve, the first human beings, there was already another species. There was multiple species on this earth. Okay? Long before the Babylonians, Billy Carson, Jack Parsons, we're going to get to his ass too. Arson for the soul is what they're teaching people. Okay? Long before humanity ever existed on this earth, based on the biblical and Quranic traditions, the Torah, there were other species that God created before. One of those species is the angels. Angels are a creation created by God that have no free will. They can only do what God commands them to do, and they are described as being created from some type of light. Okay? So maybe those orbs you mentioned earlier could be. Maybe they're seeing angelic form. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I know everything. But we know that the angelic realm, that dimension of creation, lives amongst God's kingdom. Okay? And we also know that they are in our world, and that they can even come down to test us and all this other stuff. But they cannot do wrong. And this is another place where the Judeo-Christian and the Muslim traditions kind of go this way. The second type of creation is the demonic realm. The English language does not do this creation justice. They are known in the Arabic, Hebrew traditions as the jinn. It's where the word genie comes from. You make a wish to the genie and they grant your wish. Basically, you sell your soul and they give you your wish.
Sell your soul?
Well, if you're praying to an entity other than the creator for help, you are now...
That's selling your soul?
You're worshiping that which has no right to be worshipped. The only thing that has a right to be worshipped is the one that created the heavens and the earth.
I know, but what if the creator sent that thing to be worshipped?
Okay, well, I promise you that, and I say he's not because he's a man, okay? Because God is beyond the heart.
Promise me that he did.
Listen, you can think whatever you want. We're going to find out in about 50 years, me and you. Either we're going to see nothing, or we're going to be, burn, or we're going to see, we're going to find out, me and you. What's that wager called? Pascal's wager? We're all going to find out. The problem is most people are asleep and they don't want to look or investigate or even try to see if there's some truth to any of this stuff. They're going to wait and find out or not find out if there's nothing, right? Again, I'm not knocking atheists. They have a right to believe because to not believe is also a belief. I believe to not believe. I have to respect their choice. Again, my universal message is regardless of what you believe, whatever denomination, whatever faith or not faith, we don't have a reason to be fighting and killing each other. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, that's my universal message. That's all I've spoken about over the last 3 to 4 years. Okay? I've shown you stories where, right, Muslims save Jews and vice versa. Like, really? Like, this is what they want us to be. Why do they only show the negative? They never show the positive. The truth of the matter is when you study Jewish people's lives under the Muslim empires, no one treated them better. That's a fact. Did we start the Inquisition? The Muslims?
No, that.
They were torturing anyone they even thought was a Jew. Did we start World War I? The Muslim country started World War I or European countries?
European.
World War II? that led to their annihilation?
European.
Okay. So, how? And they say Islam was spread by the sword. That's a fallacy.
Who
Why
says
is
that? Spread by, and what do they mean? Spread by the sword?
By force, by killing, by chopping. Well, let's look at it. Was it really Islam or Christianity that was spread by the sword? Because the Muslims ruled Spain for how many years? 500 years?
I think
500 years.
every religion.
Today is the most Catholic country. What Muslim are you in Indonesia? The most populous Muslim country in the world. They were never an Now, you want to talk about the Persian Empire. You want to talk about when they took over Jerusalem the first time. They didn't take it by force. They negotiated. They said, you're being charged this much tax by Byzantine. We'll charge you less and you can practice your faith. When the Crusades started, that was to reconquer Jerusalem. They didn't spill blood to conquer Jerusalem the first time. There's a movie, The Kingdom of Heaven, with Orlando Bloom. Pretty accurate. Go watch it. When the Christians reconquered Jerusalem, they wiped out any of them. This is a fact. Look in your history books. The Knights of Templar. Oh yeah. Okay? And this is all kind of things happening. But what I'm trying to say is that, and I'm not saying this to like agitate the Christian audience. The point is, they don't believe their people. Look in the fucking mirror. I agree. Look in the mirror before you attack it. You're throwing massive stones, and you don't even have a glass house anymore because all the windows have been shot.
It depends on the moment in time you're living and what conflicts are going on, for what bias you're going to have towards what religions are creating violence. And the fact is, they all have done it.
Are the Coptics being persecuted in Egypt? Coptic Christians?
Yes.
Absolutely. Are those Muslims following their religion when they do that? Absolutely not. That's my argument. Were the Serbians representing all of Orthodox Christianity when they were blessing monks? Videos, go pull it up. Blessing Serbian soldiers before they went to Serbia and massacred 8,000 civilians. Is that my entire life? My family was massacred by the Serbian military. Many of them were blessed by Orthodox monks. Okay?
What do you mean?
Blood, like they were they're about to go to battle, right? Bless them, come back safe, right? I never once, in my entire life, you'll never find one public lecture where I have ever blamed Christianity for what happened to my family.
Yeah.
How can I take it the same respect as a Muslim? Why am I double victimized on what happened on 9/11 when I suffered that day also?
Yeah.
So, I never once blamed Christianity because I always believe Christ is the Lord. To have mercy, to have compassion, to love your enemy, to love your enemy, mercy, to have mercy. And it's the same thing in Islam. They didn't chop the prisoners of war's heads off. The first reverts to Islam were prisoners of war. They're like, this is how you treat us? You dress us like unions? You feed us with the same food? If this is how you treat your prisoners, we want to be of your faith. Not dress them in arms, jumpsuit, put a camcorder up, and then slice their throats.
Yeah.
And then they want to tell me that those are my people, that's my faith. No, that's not my faith. They do more harm to that faith than anything else.
That's what ends up happening.
And this cross-religious stuff, which is why I will always call Christians and Jews my brothers and sisters, period, is because this infighting of people that claim to believe in God, I don't blame the atheists, man. I think God's going to be mad at all of us for the way we treated each other because you can't blame them. Look at what they do to each other. Look at what's going on right now overseas. The country with an eye. Let's avoid strikes on your thing. What's been going on since October, you know what? Okay? Who would ever want to believe in Judaism or Islam and see the crime stuff? Who? That's the Holy Land? Then I never want to see its fucking face. And that's causing more harm to people that believe in God than those that don't. Denomination, you're not God. You can make a mistake. You could be wrong. I could be wrong. I gotta face God. You're gonna face God, man. If God exists. I know He exists in my opinion, in my life. There's too much evidence scientifically that He exists. But who am I to judge you to be the judge, jury, and executioner? People saying good. I read comments and people watching videos of airstrikes and going good to the. That's what your God teaches you? That's what your God teaches you? You call yourself a Muslim? Or a Jew? Or a Christian? No, that's not what God taught any of those religions. But there are 10 commandments, brother. Before Jesus, before Muhammad, thou shalt not kill.
I agree with you. And I also also agree that a lot of these wars are completely unnecessary and sure, manipulated.
Where's the weapons of mass destruction, bro? Where are they in Iraq?
But there are also times where, and there's always some form of manipulation with war, but there are times where it makes sense. You know, I had Danny Hall in here recently, who was one of the greatest warriors in American history. I had him on for episodes 217 and 218. It was so long we did 2 episodes. And, you know, he won a Silver Star in Iraq for killing a lot of insurgents. Basically, like, I think there was 57 in the battle. He went down in one ditch himself with no arms, and hand-to-hand, 1 on 18, took out 18. That's what won him the Silver Star.
I saw that.
Yeah, so a guy like that, and he's such a genuine, great guy, and he doesn't, like, take pride in, I've killed so many people. Like, he's not like, he's not like that. But there is, if you ask him, he'll tell you, on that field that day, there was good and there was bad. And he had absolutely no question about where the good was, and it was on his side. So my question is, because we also talked about this with him, is do you think that war, though, is something that is realistically, it can realistically be expected to be eliminated from humanity, when in fact humanity is so fucking flawed, regardless of whether or not they fight over religion or not?
Until Jesus Christ returns, Muslim and Christians, they think that's the time
So every generation has to
believe that also.
Every generation has to turn away from God then in some ways. No,
So,
by your life.
start conflict. Yo, I was never a fan of Saddam Hussein. Who put him in power? That's all I want to say. Who put him in power? Who gave him the money for all those arms? When he was fighting who? Iran. Rumsfeld, like they're shaking his hand. I mean, come on, bro. Who put all these leaders in the Middle East in power out of the caliphate of 1912 or 1910 or whatever?
Britain and France.
Okay, but now who created the problem that we have right now? You gave one people their rights and their land, you left the other people that were living there, regardless of who had it first. They're there, they're living. I don't care about who's right or wrong, they're both are wrong. Both are people, right? Yeah. And it will not end well for them either. They might win the operation. They've lost the hearts and minds of so many people that supported them before.
Yeah.
I've advised them as friends. I have family that's of that faith. Friends of that faith. Like, yo, this is not a good look for you guys.
Oh, I have so many.
Okay, this is not a good look.
So many friends.
You're responsible. No one's knocking what happened to you,
Yeah.
but you're responsible. It's too excessive, man. It's just too excessive. So that's what I'm fighting against, man. This hatred, this bias, this, like, yo, we're all gonna have to answer, man. And we're all gonna pay the price. And all of us have blood in our hands, and make God mercy.
Here's another great line from a former episode. I had Eric Zuliger in here for episode 163 and 160.
Shout out, Eric.
Yeah, that's your boy. So he has a great line that says, people are not their governments.
Yes.
And when he said that, I was like it was just...
It's a light bulb.
Yes.
Same thing happened to me. Not with him, but I had that epiphany literally. I'm like, I've spoken before. When I lost people that I loved, I used to spend every summer with them in Kosovo. I saw them in 96. The conflict started in 97.
There's 28 family members in
I never saw them again.
Right.
Okay?
Hey guys, if you have a second, please be sure to share this episode around on social media and with your friends, whether it's Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter. It's all a huge help. It gets new eyeballs on the show, and it allows us to grow and survive. So thank you to all of you who have already been doing that, and thank you to all of you who are going to do so now.
My cousins and their cousins, and now being a world, it's cousins, right? Cousins, like we're all together.
You lost 28 people though,
Okay?
right?
That I knew, that I loved. Not every last one of them was direct blood, but my cousins, their cousins, you understand? Every summer I spent with them. They were my family every summer. They taught me how to speak Albanian, about the history, about the culture. And I saw what was going on there long before the conflict started. Okay? To sit here and tell you that I didn't hate anyone that was from Serbia, I'd be lying to you. I hated them. I didn't want to know them from Serbia. Okay? I didn't want to know them. Because, of course, I have a swollen heart.
Of course.
I just lost 28 people that I knew, that I loved. I traumatized, okay? And I didn't want to do anyone that was from there. And for many years I didn't. If you're from there, I don't want to know you. And so my people give me slack for this stuff. I'm like, listen, no, man, no. I've met Serbians that said, I didn't agree with that conflict. I left because they're trying to draft me to go fight there. I didn't want to be a part. How am I going to hate that guy? How am I going to hate the one family that helped save some Albanians that I know, for example? Just like during the Holocaust, there was Germans that took Jews in, right? So that's number one. Then number two, I put my hand on my heart, as the Albanians say. I put my hand on my heart and I say, let me think. I didn't agree with the Iraq invasion. I don't agree with supplying weapons to certain countries that are not doing the right thing. I don't agree with these policies. So many millions of people have died for no reason. There's Iraqis that maybe have every right in the world to hate Americans based on their perspective and theirs, okay? There was no weapons of mass destruction. Like Saddam, regardless, but 1 million people lost their lives, okay? Because of our actions, regardless. Some would say, now if I lost my wife, my kids, my brother, I would say, you know what, as bad as Saddam was, I would rather him still be in power and I have my family alive. You don't know because we're not in their shoes, you understand?
Yeah.
And the more people's lifelines we affect, their trajectories,
Oh, why are you running?
they're gonna what? Breed hatred and want revenge. Many of them are coming right through the border right now. Okay? Documented. My point is, I as an American had no say over that. I was against it. Just like people are protesting every day in New York because they don't want us helping anymore, you know, what's going on over there. In both conflicts that we're de facto involved in, right? Proxy, you know, right?
That's right.
I have no say in that. Does that mean that that person should hate my guts? No, because I agree with you. You're on the other side of the world. Yes, I have this red, white, and blue flag that represents me, but I'm not with it right now. I don't support what they're doing. It's the same thing with religion. My religion teaches me life is sacred. You can't take anyone's life that's innocent. You can only defend yourself. Never be the oppressor and don't be the oppressed. You have an equal duty to A, not oppress others, and B, if you're being oppressed, it's your duty to fight against it because it's your God-given right to live free. Yeah. Within the confines of morality and spirituality and the rules that God gave us, family, honor, loyalty. Muslims were commanded by the Prophet Muhammad when they live in a different country to abide by the rules of that nation. This is a fact. The problem is you want to watch a 2-minute YouTube video and then you think you're going to learn a faith that's thousands of years old in 2 seconds. And then you're going to make presumptions and this and that. Half the time you're talking to people like, no offense to Sneeko, okay?
Oh, you can put offense on
Okay. Well, I don't like to attack people, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not attacking this person like to say he's evil.
Sneeko's a different story.
He may truly believe all that stuff, okay? That's his right. That's his right. We were all right. That's your right. I can't hate you for that. That's your right to choose. God gave you that gift to choose. I can choose. I can choose to think of women, or I can choose to do a fucking donkey. You have that choice. Okay? Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean you probably won't go to jail for fucking, you know, doing things that are against the law. You have the right to choose anything you want in this life. I can pick up this cup, drink. That made me cough, right? There's a reaction to everything. So,
Literally water.
this is kind of like the pressure. I wanted them to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah. I don't care if you believe what I believe.
What does this have to do with Sneeko?
Sneeko was a new Muslim, okay? And this is what I said in the beginning of this talk we're having, is that first and foremost, forgive me if I made an error. Number one, I could be wrong. These crossroads we're about to get in, which is why I'm here. We haven't even got into it. Because there's nothing more harmful than giving inaccurate information to people. It creates damage. It creates chaos. And I hope he knows that before you speak about your faith, unless you're really qualified and have the knowledge, if you give misinformation, you are held accountable when you face God. Because you may have pushed people away from the inaccuracies. And you will be responsible. Because that one idea, I've had people message me, your video about that, I actually started studying Islam because of it. I became a Muslim because of that. Right? There's the positive and that aspect of spirituality. There's the negative that because of you, I don't want to believe in God anymore. I gave information that was inaccurate or not said the right way, meaning people could understand what I was saying. Okay? People talk about the Prophet's marriage. He got married to a 6-year-old, and they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Zero when it comes to that subject.
Yeah, what is that story? Like they try to say Muhammad.
This isn't what this episode was about.
Yeah, it's okay, but go ahead.
Okay? But
Clear
here,
it up. Clear it up.
most common attack of the Prophet's character. Okay? They have nothing else except he did this and he eliminated one tribe. Like he wiped them out. Yeah, he fucking wiped them out because they had an alliance. There was one Jewish tribe that they had an alliance. You have to put everything into context. Okay? He's living amongst the pagan Arabs. The God. Okay? He brings the message that there's only one God. This is the same message of Christ, Moses, everyone that came before me. We have to worship the one God, Allah. Okay. But Allah is the same word as what? God. Which is the same word as what? Elohim. The Bible's mistranslated because they use the plural of God. Yes, it's called the royal plural.
I needed some Bobby's. I'm unorthodox than the mother. Hey, when you don't switch the flow, I thought you never asked.
The plural, the royal plural.
I needed some Bobby's. I'm unorthodox than the mother. Hey, when you don't switch the flow, I thought you never asked.
Okay? Yes, Elohim is the
I needed some
royal
Bobby's.
plural
I'm unorthodox
of
than the
Elah.
mother. Hey, when you
Elah
don't
is
switch the
the
flow, I thought you
Hebrew.
never asked.
Okay?
I needed
Aramaic is
some
Allah.
Bobby's. I'm unorthodox
Arabic
than the
is
mother.
Allah. It's the
Hey, when
same
you gon'
word.
switch the
We
flow, I
like
thought you
context.
never asked.
Okay?
I needed
Same word.
some Bobby's.
Three languages.
I'm
That's what we
unorthodox
talked
than the
about
mother.
last time.
Yeah.
Google Aramaic word for God. Let's see if they change it because they're dying to change it on Wikipedia. Good.
Elohim.
Put in
Allah.
Aramaic.
There it is.
Aramaic.
There it is.
Yeah, I know, but watch
Elohim.
this now. Watch. Go up. Type in Aramaic.
Aramaic.
Aramaic word for God.
A-R-A.
We're going to go back. Oh, delete it. Delete it completely.
No, delete it and type
Delete
in
it.
Aramaic
Push X.
word for
We're
God.
going to help you.
You got it.
Word for God. There you go. Third search result. Right there.
Yeah.
Where does the first result come from?
Allah.
That's the language of Jesus Christ, bro.
Wow.
Okay? And they got you. You had people on 9/11 going, F these Muslims and F their Allah.
Yeah.
You just cursed God in the same language that Jesus Christ spoke. Okay? This is the level of ignorance.
That's the word.
Okay?
Yeah.
The level of ignorance. Okay? This is not made up stuff. Ask any scholar. That's Allah. Allah.